Hi YouTubers, and welcome to another episode of The Flavorful Gourmet. Today we're going to make peanut butter stew, which is a wonderfully protein packed and flavorful dish. It's super simple and easy to make, so let's get started. First I'm going to go ahead and get my pot nice and warm. And right now I have that turned to high heat. I'm going to add a little olive oil to the pan. Just enough to coat the bottom, doesn't take much. Give that a nice swirl around. And to that oil, I'm going to add 1 cup of crushed tomato. That's going to start simmering and bubbling a little bit, which is fine because we want to just let the tomato start to fry. You want to just let your tomato fry for about 5 minutes. I'm going to just turn that down to medium heat so it's not splashing and burning me. Now while that fries, separately, for the sake of time and multitasking, I'm going to start blending some vegetables. So what I have here to blend is 3 garlic cloves. I'll toss those right into the blender. I have 2 large carrots that I've washed and peeled. And I have 2 pieces of ginger. Now I love ginger. You don't have to use this much ginger, but it's totally up to you. But at least 1 small piece works. But I love a good amount of ginger. So I have just taken some fresh ginger that I have peeled. I'm tossing that right into the blender as well. So I'm just going to let this pulse a couple of times to roughly chop the carrots and the ginger. Got 1 piece of carrot that's stuck at the top, so I have to make sure that gets down into the blender. That looks good. So this is the consistency that you want your carrots and ginger mixture with the garlic. It's just nice and kind of shredded there. So while we were blending our vegetables, our tomato was continuing to fry. So now you just want to come back to your tomato here in the pan, give it a nice stir. Make sure it's not sticking to the bottom of your pot. Now to that mixture, I'm going to add in 1 whole chopped white onion. This is about half of a chopped red bell pepper and 1 whole green bell pepper that I have chopped. Give that a stir and let it just continue to cook with our tomatoes that are there. Just turn my fire back up to medium high. let that fry for a moment, and while this is frying, I'm just going to get 2 cups of water. Give that another stir. So we're going to let our vegetables cook another few minutes, just 2 or 3 minutes to let them soften up just a little bit and kind of release their flavors into the dish. Now this peanut butter stew, you can make it many different ways. Today I am making it vegetarian based. I'm not adding any meat, but normally I would have chicken or beef, like a smoked beef even works really well in this dish. So if you want to add additional meat, you can, but because peanut butter already packs a very high protein punch, I'm just leaving it vegetarian today. All right, that looks good. Let's give them a quick stir. Okay, so I'm going to take my carrot and ginger mixture here and start adding this to my other vegetables. And just in case you couldn't see it before, but the carrot is very finely shredded, so you want to just use a blender and kind of shred your carrot a little bit. If you all can see that. Give our vegetables a stir and kind of just mix everything together well. A very colorful and flavorful dish. Now to this, I'm going to start adding a few spices here. I like curry powder, so I'm just adding in a little curry powder. I have about 1/4 of a teaspoon here. And this is just a spice blend, so I'm going to add about 1/4 of this spice blend as well, which has like some garlic and onion powder. Now I have 1 habanero pepper. I'm just going to toss in the whole pepper. It's not going to make the dish too spicy, but I like to just have a little bit of heat, and it adds a little extra more flavor. If you do want your dish spicy, I suggest that you blend the habanero pepper with the carrot and ginger mixture, and that will fully release the spicy pepper into your dish. I like to just leave it whole because as it boils and cooks, some of that flavor will come out of the dish, but I can also retrieve the pepper easily at the end. Now, I did get 2 cups of water, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding that water by just pouring it into the mixture. Okay, so since this is pretty thick, I'm going to get another 2 cups. Pour in the next 2 cups of water. So now I have 4 cups of water there. I'm just going to get 2 more. And the star of the show. Here I have some natural peanut butter, and I'm just going to add about half of this jar into the pot. So natural peanut butter tends to be on the thicker side because the oil comes to the top and it separates. So I'm going to take a spoon and just kind of stir my peanut butter first. Like this. gonna add about half of the jar of peanut butter into the pot. Now I just want to give that another stir to let the peanut butter start to melt into the mixture and dissolve. As the peanut butter continues to heat, it will just gradually melt. So don't worry about if you have a lump or a chunk going in at a time, because as it starts to dissolve into the mixture, it will evenly smooth out. Wait for that to come to a boil, and I have 2 Maggi bouillon cubes here, so I'm going to go ahead and add these. Now the big secret to this stew, or some would say peanut butter soup or peanut butter stew, is getting it to the consistency that you like. Now normally I make a big batch, which is the case this time, and as you add in your peanut butter, it will thicken the more it cooks. So as it starts to boil, it will thicken, and you can kind of just use your spoon to test the consistency or the thickness. And once it boils to that point, you can kind of turn your fire off, because as this cools, it will additionally thicken more. So I can feel this getting a little thick and settling more on the bottom, so I'm really just using the spoon to push the bottom of the pan contents around so that nothing sticks. I want to just let that boil for a few minutes. This has been boiling for about 5 minutes, so I'm just going to give it a stir and check it. Okay, so now that it's really boiling, I actually feel like this is a little on the thinner side, and that's likely because I only used half a container of peanut butter with the 6 cups of water. It probably would have been fine to just do the 4 cups, but that's okay because I have more peanut butter, and I can just add in the remaining contents of my container here. Stir that all in. Just break up that peanut butter. And if it starts to boil too much for you, just turn your fire down to a medium. And there we go, nice and smooth and creamy. It's nice thick texture, or I like mine a little on the thicker side rather than too soupy or thin. But I've just stirred and made sure that there are no clumps of peanut butter. Everything has smoothed out. And it's full of those carrots and bell peppers, onions, and spices that we added. Now I recommend you tasting your sauce. I'm not adding any salt, but if you feel the need to do so, feel free. Wonderful. Look at that color, that consistency. And this stew is all done. Now normally you can have this peanut butter stew with over rice, or if you like naan, or Gary. It's totally up to you. It can be enjoyed a variety of ways. Most likely I am going to just pop some rice in the rice cookers because I'm a multitasker. I have to do all this cleanup now and enjoy this for dinner tonight over rice. So thanks for watching. I've enjoyed cooking with you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like or a thumbs up. Find this recipe and more on my website, www.theflavorfulgourmet.com.